In this video, I will discuss Die Brücke, otherwise known as The Bridge. The Bridge is a 1959 West German film directed by Austrian filmmaker Bernard Vicki, and is based on the 1958 novel of the same name by journalist and writer Gregor Dorfmeister. Sorry if I mispronounced that. What happens in this film is reportedly true. They're based on the account of a World War II veteran who apparently experienced a similar situation. I feel as though there are few films that push forth the anti-war effort sentiment as powerful as this film does. The beautifully tragic portrayal of growing up uses an extremely efficient tool of anti-war media. This film does a fantastic job of telling a coming-of-age tale within a harsh reality. The film begins with all the boys eager and willing to fight for their country. We often see them laughing and talking excitedly about war strategies and draft papers. These kids are obviously oblivious to the dangers that surround them. In Engaging Cinema by Bill Nichols, he makes the point that adolescent males in film are more than children, but less than men. However, from the early points in the film, it's plain to see that these kids are really just kids. The way that these guys discuss war is similar to how me and my friends would talk about Call of Duty in middle school. In essence, this film tells a story about growing up, but the place in which these kids must grow up is much different than the average kid. Truthfully, until the final battle of the film, they remain children, still retaining innocence as they are all having fun as soldiers even. We see them playing around as if they were just acting as soldiers. They lounge around, throw rocks, threaten to shoot an old man for even warning them that they're not ready for this. It's not until one of them is shot by a plane that they understand the true gravity of what they're in for. Mere seconds before this happens, all the boys tease that same friend for being the only one to duck down at the first sight of the plane. By all means and categorization, this is obviously a war film. Ostensibly, any film from around this time could be considered a war film due to the sheer scale of the conflict, but this film places us in the view of an eager, naive youth. We see what the effects of war does to the adolescent. So by all accounts, this is a war film. Engaging Cinema offers a succinct categorization of genre, specifically that of the social order. Basically, films that take place in an unstable public where danger is seen by all, following a male loner or his buddies on a quest with conflicts of power, violence, and sacrifice, touching on themes of the hero's redemption, independence, or an ending where evil is eliminated and the day is saved. Though despite all the formalities being the same, this film does nothing in the way of glorifying war. In fact, it takes a firm stand against it. Throughout the entire film, primary characters who are pro-war are either the Nazis or the kids themselves. Every other adult character is reluctant to let the boys take up arms. Though between teenage rebellion and that boyish fascination with war and violence, these kids eagerly step into the conflict only to meet a gruesome end. This film is a masterpiece of war cinema. Being made only 14 years after the war, it's fascinating to see how filmmakers in Germany were able to make such commentaries after such a tragic event. I mean, The Murderers Are Among Us pretty much was made after the war, like immediately, but you know. Anyway, The Bridge is a masterclass at the brutal truths of war, and many anti-war films often place groups of strong men at the forefront and break them down to highlight the horrors of war. The characters in this film were broken down before they could even grasp what was happening. This film uses historical war and traditional coming-of-age tale tropes in order to create what I feel is one of the greatest anti-war films ever made.